Oh, geez, you look tired.
Yeah, I'm alright. The whole Germania controversy has been killing me. So, I'm just relaxing for the time being.
Didn't you say you were going to work on that LARP episode?
Well, I've been always wanting to get into that, but there's not a lot of people who LARP nowadays. It's not like it's gonna come on the news or something, I don't know.
Oh well, let's just watch the news.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Ugh. Let's just watch some TV for now.
Breaking news! The Emperor of the Destroying Empire has played since Canada and Mexico and has sent all his troops now to make sure this is victorious. He has literally met with the president and has to with the approval, especially with Murray and Nancy.
Oh yeah, it's that one LARP
Alright,
guy.
you know what?
To be honest, it's kind of a weird guy. Where are you going?
Into the news, someone got a threat, and now they have their needs. Now it's time for D-Water. D-Water is awesome, and they'll be telling what around if there's some needs. There's a news,
Ah, jeez. Alright. Well. So, what you just saw there was a LARPer. A bad LARPer. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about LARPers and how they can be fit within the micronational world. So how do we get out of this world?
I don't know how did you even get over there?
Oh, nope, hang on, I figured it out. Okay.
And he's gone. I'm going home. He's not dying.
Well, LARPers, aren't they a thing?
Yep. LARPers are one of the worst parts of the micronational community, in my opinion, because they basically divert the view of people who are not in the community to themselves instead of the outsiders. So the outsiders get their first impression from the LARPers and not from the real micronations who are taking the stuff seriously, you know?
That is absolutely true. And I feel as if LARPers can at least find a way to play a role within the micronational community without, over dramatizing it or over glorifying it. Exactly.
Well, in my opinion, LARPers don't really have a space in the community. I think they should be their own thing. There's a thing called simulationist micronations, or just simulationist nations, which are mostly roleplay groups who act like they are a nation. There's nothing wrong with that, but they should not include themselves in the micronational community because micronations are self-proclaimed nations, basically. So fake nations don't have any role to play with other nations who consider themselves real countries, you know?
That's absolutely true. So simulationist machinations. What do you think is a good example of a simulationist machination and a complete fantasy made-up machination?
So, a good simulationist micronation, but there are any good, but like a simulationist nation, not a micronation, would most likely be on a Discord server, or maybe in real life if someone has enough friends to do it. Basically, they claim a lot of land, like more land that they can actually manage, which is the opposite with micronations, because micronations usually claim land that they can control and actively visit, while simulationist nations don't really do that. They mostly just claim whatever they want and act like they are the owners in their sort of fantasy world, which is their roleplay scenario, you could say.
Ah, see, fair enough. Can you give me some examples of these fantasy machinations that maybe
I
take
don't
it
have-
too far?
I don't really have any examples, but I can give one. I don't remember their name, but they joined our server a while ago. They were a micronation. They claimed themselves to be a micronation who claimed the entire, nearly the entirety of Europe, stretching from the Balkans to Russia to Norway to about Belgium. You could say that if you triangulate that. So basically, they were claiming they own all of that, and we were just like, no, you can't really control that realistically. And then they said that they did not care because that's how micronations work. And then we had to explain to them that micronations don't work like that. So they reduced their claim by claiming just a tiny part of all of northern Germany and Poland. And then we again said, yeah, that's a bit too much. How about you just claim your house? And then, well, they got angry and an argument happened, and then they left. So
Can you tell us about? Okay, I remember you telling me earlier there was one micronation that like threatened to nuke people.
yes, there was I won't name any names because I don't want to be mean to people, but
Yeah.
there was a micronation on YouTube during the old YouTube days of micronations that threatened to nuke other micronations if they pissed them off or said anything against them. And well, another micronation, which I won't name for anonymity and such, made a jokey video about them when they claim that they're gonna nuke people and actually invade them while they're a continent away from them, which is of course the stupidest thing you can ever claim as a
Yeah.
micronation.
I did mention this in the episode 2 diplomacy that if someone declares war on you,
Yeah,
like what are they gonna do exactly? Unless that they're like, I don't know, maybe they're in like the same state. Like what are they exactly gonna do? Like drive up and destroy your house or something.
there has been a scenario with one of my allies in which people from one micronation have actually come there to help another. So what I still won't name any names because
Yeah, privacy.
keep it private.
Go on.
Uh, One of my allies had a civil war, basically what it was. Usually micronational civil wars aren't real, but this one was pretty real because they have an actual functioning government. Well, they disbanded a couple days ago, but it wasn't about the civil war. This was like in 2021. Anyways, so one of my other allies came to help them, but they also declared war on them. And then they sent actual troops there because they both lived in the United Kingdom and their cities were really close to each other. So the micronation that assisted the one in the civil war sent one of their battalions to them and helped them achieve their victory at the end, which is a really good example of micronational war, because usually micronational war should be fought in real life. That's what I think. But I think the best means of it would be either an airsoft game or paintball, because Nerf is really just it's kind of goofy, you try to invade someone with Nerf guns, they'll laugh at you.
Unless bound to like a set of rules, they wouldn't really have to worry about Nerf words or anything. Like I said, I also mentioned this in episode 2 as well. I know that you're a special guest here, but let me ask you this. How do you feel about tabletop warfare?
Tabletop warfare, what do you mean by that?
I mean, like they build like their own stuff. You know those little green men?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, like World of Warcraft, the campaigns, or D&D stuff like that. Yeah, I think I know what you mean.
Do you think that, let's say, if it was like changed so it could be like warfare, like Warhammer 40k or something like that, do you think LARPers can take advantage of that and make wars so that way they don't have to be like full on fantasy and stuff?
Okay, LARPers can, but real functional micronations shouldn't even need to resort to war. I think micronations should first resort on diplomacy and treaties and such, and paperwork, of course. And then if that all fails, they could resort to war, but only if you can realistically fight a war with another micronation. So Yeah, so the roleplay micronations, or the roleplay nations, because I don't even want to call them micronations, they can resort to stuff like video game matches, as you said, tabletop warfare, because it's fantasy and that's also fantasy. So fantasy with fantasy is a perfect mix. If you want to be a simulationist micronation, or not a micronation, simulationist nation.
That is absolutely true. I can absolutely agree with that. And here's something that maybe we could find some kind of like middle ground for. If an actual serious micronation wants to just dabble a little bit in roleplay, like for example, Malasia uses fake people as part of their government. You probably might have seen a video about that.
Thing is with Malasia, if I can quickly take the lead in what we're saying, Malasia is a complicated nation. See, they claim to be a micronation, but they have some sort of roleplay elements. But I think it's just for the fun, Kevin Baugh, the president, makes money from these attractions, and I think it's perfectly good and well to say, oh yeah, these are our citizens, and it's like those stuffed people they have in the stands where people can buy things from. And that's I think is more of a tourist attraction than like real micronational government. But if you want to do something real, you should have real people.
Just to conclude, LARPers have some kind of place within the micronational community, but not exactly.
I would say they don't really have a place in it, but if your nation is like Malasia, let's say they have tourist attractions which sort of make you money by making it a bit silly, that's acceptable. But you can have your government filled with teddy bears, you can have a parliament full of plush toys like some other micronation in air quotes in the past that I've seen had.
I think we lost him. I think we lost him. Looks like his mic has stopped working.
No, my
And
mic is
oh,
working.
okay, he's still here. Never mind.
No, just
Let's you know what? Let's just end this video, right?
So, if you're planning to make your micronations and following this series that he made, of course, which is really good, I really recommend watching more of his videos. The only thing I can say to you is try to stay as realistic as possible. You can have a little bit funny, you can have fun with it, but don't have too much fun. That's what I'm saying. It's still fun, but not too much fun. You can't say you have a giant army that's gonna invade the neighboring country and steal all their land. Try to be as realistic as possible while still having fun. That's my philosophy.
Absolutely. So, Neo, thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
But yeah, that's it, everyone. Thank you so much for watching.
We have one more thing. What about the communist episode?
You see, we don't talk about